Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review of Flashpoint Beyond, number 6. This is the last issue in the series, but let's talk a little bit about the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Tim Sheridan, Jeremy Adams, and Geoff Jones, with art by Xeramico, Mikel, Janin, and Gary Franks, colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr., Jordie Bellaire, and Brad Anderson. I believe that's respectively, so in the same order as I mentioned the artist, and letters by Rob Leigh. Uh, the fate of the Flashpoint Earth hangs in the balance as Thomas must make the ultimate choice. What will happen to this fractured reality, and what does it mean for the DC universe at large? So, even though this book is very self-contained, it poses a lot of really interesting questions. Specifically things to do with Rip Hunter and the Time Lords and all the events of Flashpoint and how this Earth should be dealt with. And I feel almost like this was one of those experiments that um, that the Time Lords are kind of conducting on regular people and on this Earth. It's almost like as if it was a test, which is really interesting. It's a really interesting concept. I think the team just really managed to deliver a fun, although a little bit convoluted, not in a way that it doesn't make sense in the story, just convoluted in a sense that it asks a lot for a lot of prior knowledge is required for this series. But being somebody that has read Flashpoint and the New 52 stuff and the Rebirth stuff, like I'm pretty caught up and very well suited to go into a series like this. So I would definitely recommend before reading this, you have to at least read Flashpoint, the original Flashpoint, and maybe the DC Rebirth issue, so you understand what's going on. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, obviously, specifically when we deal with the character of Thomas Wayne, Batman from the Flashpoint era. But let's take a look at some preview art. We'll talk a little bit more about this stuff. One, I mean, I want to commend first of all the art team. They each took their respective assignments and just really nailed them. They understood the assignment as the kids say, and because each one of them just kind of went really wild in this issue. I love here the shot of the dinosaur as they're in the Batcave with Rip Hunter and Corey, his sidekick, who I had never heard of. That'll be really interesting to go back and revisit. Um, and the only thing that I've mentioned before that one of the things that I love is when the narration is telling me something other than what's being on the page. This one doesn't. I think it's really giving us a little bit of exposition, so it's not really being used to its full potential. That would be a small gripe I would have with this. But then yeah, we see here things are happening. We go back to the Flashpoint Earth, and here is where Thomas Wayne is going to have to make a choice, a very difficult choice. So with everything that's been going on, the Joker being revealed to be that clockwork killer that we've been following along. But this is Martha Wayne Joker because of the events of Flashpoint. And like I mentioned, this Flashpoint world, it's really interesting, but it does require a little bit of knowledge. If you don't want to go back and read the series, you can probably watch the movie and come away with most of the necessary knowledge. There's a DC animated movie you can probably check out. It's called the same as Flashpoint. But yeah, this series was fun. For somebody that's a heavy comic book reader, heavy lore, and I just love to see there's two sides, right? I love books that build great on continuity, on past continuity, and there's also great books that just are standalone stories. This is the first, right? This is not the latter. This is a book that builds on continuity, builds on really exciting events, and then also plants seeds for possible events in the future. Which it all kind of leads back to tracing the line between this creator. So really interesting stuff. I like the series a lot. I know DC is definitely gonna. I hope when the collection comes out, they asked Mitch Gerards to do a full new, brand new cover. Maybe Gary Frank. Any of the artists would be great, but these two, like the Gerards cover, has been just. I've been loving them. Mitch Gerards was doing covers as well for Flashpoint for one of the, I believe it was for the Batman story. But don't quote me on that. But yeah, I mean he's one of my favorite cover artists. So really interested to see how that would play out in the future. But let me know what you thought of this issue if you read it. And as always, Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.